Hello everybody, today I'm going to be showing you a very simple inventory system that I've created. I'll go ahead and start. When I press the enter key, this little black box is going to turn red to let me know that I've highlighted this weapon or this object and it's ready to be moved. So let's go ahead and move it, and I'm going to use my page up and I use my page down key as well to move up and down. I can move around. So I'm going to place this in the item slot. This would technically be like where you would actually equip the item. So now it's equipped. Let's say we want to move it. Or let's say that we want to swap between weapon 1 and weapon 2. So now they've literally been swapped. Let's say that we want to move weapon 2 back into our backpack. And go up here. Move it back down, so now nothing's equipped. Etc, etc. Alright, so let's take a look at the code and see how I actually did this. Just so you know right up front, this is probably not the best way to do this. There probably is a million ways better to do this. However, this is just a quick sample. That's about 100 lines of code. It's pretty much what I came up with. I plan on going back and cleaning it later and coming up with a better solution, but for now this should be a really easy to understand concept. Alright, so we have our pointer index, and the pointer index literally is just this. It's pretty much what it relates back to, based off that location. In fact, I'll go ahead and show you right here. It's dealing with that pointer triangles. It has 3 possibilities of the locations that it could be at, and that's what the index is for. It's just telling it, where to go when our key press event or a key down event occurs. When the page up or the page down buttons are pressed, that's the event that will take place. It'll simply move the pointer. Alright, the next part is actually the items themselves, where we define the items, because they're in an array. Probably should have used a list, but we just used a basic array as a string for now. So we just set the items are equal, weapon 1 and weapon 2 essentially. The next part is we have our selected objects or select objects. Now what's happening here, this is actually occurs when we press our enter key. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. What happens? First it does a check to make sure that our pointer index is correct, which I think that was just a copy and paste on my part, and it was probably just bad practice. Probably don't need to use that, which that can be removed, but we'll clean that up later. So the next part is it actually checks to see the pointer index case statement. So there's only 3 cases that it could possibly be with the pointer index. So the next thing we need to know is, do we have an item selected or not? If we don't have an item selected, then it's going to go ahead and set that to true. It's going to put our temporary object equal to whatever the text is of that slot, or whatever that string is, object or whatever and whatnot. So now we're literally, that object's text value or string value is going to be equal to this temp value. So now the temp value actually becomes the object, quote unquote, and then the index value also helps keep track of what pointer index we're on. And then if it's been selected, if I've already selected something, now it knows that it needs to fill the index 2 for the swap, if that makes any sense, of course. Which already makes sense right now. So here we go. So now that we have both variables filled, we have our temp 0 and our temp 1. They both have whatever objects are in there that's supposed to be in there, populated with something. Now we're actually going to move those objects. So now we go back to our index 1. Index 1's that was normally temp 0 becomes now temp 1, or equal to that, based on whatever the index or pointer index that we had selected, and vice versa for index 2. So basically you're just swapping the objects or the strings the string values, or the text value, I should say, between those two. So that's where you're actually moving that object. Now, you instead of using a string that you can actually use, you can use picture boxes. You can use a class item. Like, when you build this, you would want to have like an actual class that you are actually moving, like an object, defined in your class, of course. So you're moving that object around instead of just string. But that's basically what's going on here. In case you're wondering about this as well, this is where we're actually building the values of, or the pointer location. So let's go ahead and take a look at it one more time, because I really feel like I didn't explain it that well. So we can move up and down. So we're going to select this object, and we're going to move it up here. We're going to select that object again, we're going to move it back down, and so on and so forth. It's a really basic system. What you would do at this is you would need to do something a little bit more elaborate. To when the object is moved, it would need to do a check, because something's going to change. If it were doing a game, something would change with the character and his attributes, or something would change there. If you are using this in the office, something needs to happen with your document, or whatever you're using, or if you're using a database, it needs to update the database. Whatever you're doing, though, something needs to occur when you move the string or the object. Something needs to happen. So that's basically the inventory system. It's a really, really basic system. If you have a better system, please post it, or recommendations to improve the system. Please post them as well. I plan on posting this on the MSDN to ask other people to really help optimize this and come up with a better way to do this. But for now, it works flawlessly. It's not bad, but it's definitely not good. There's most definitely, I'm almost positive there's going to be a better way to do this. So yeah, please post your thoughts about this. Please subscribe if you also found this to be helpful. Alright, so thank you.